Good morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm your host, Jessica Williams. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a jammed-packed show, so let's get started. First up, we are kicking off our new Medicare Because We Care series with HealthMarkets Insurance Agency. Then Timbercrest joins me to share about their senior living community. And later, we are continuing our conversation about spousal inheritance planning, discussing pensions with Foster Financial. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
This segment sponsored by Kevin McIntire, a licensed insurance agent with HealthMarkets Insurance Agency. I am at HealthMarkets Insurance Agency in Auburn, Indiana, and we are kicking off our Medicare Because We Care series. Each week, I'm going to speak to a licensed agent to discuss all things Medicare. What does it mean? What are the benefits? And so much more. Let's get started. Joining me now is Kevin McIntire, who is a licensed insurance agent at HealthMarkets Insurance Agency. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Well, I'm thrilled to be here and to start this Medicare series because I feel that it's such an important topic and people may be wondering, what is it? What are the details? And you're going to fill in those blanks for us.
Yes.
So let's start off by you sharing about yourself and your practice.
Sure. Well, my wife, Erica, and I run our local agency office right here in Auburn, Indiana. And we get a lot of the same types of questions when it comes to Medicare, very common questions. So we thought it would be a good idea to hop on here with you and do a weekly segment where we answer some of those most common questions that we get on a weekly basis. And then we also, I would like to open it up to the listeners, to the viewers. If they would like to submit a question directly to me that could be answered on a future episode with you, that my email address is on the bottom of the screen. Feel free to email that question to me.
Yeah, I love that. That is perfect. So be sure to send over your questions and we will get those addressed each week. So I'm sure that people wonder, what is Medicare? How does it benefit them? What are the terms? What does it mean? There's a lot of confusion surrounding it. Do you see that a lot in your business?
Absolutely. Yeah, it happens a lot. Almost every person that I meet with has some level of confusion around what Medicare is, what additional plans are available, how will those plans work together. And honestly, no wonder, because they're getting emails and phone calls and texts and even seeing TV commercials all over the place. So it can be very overwhelming to somebody entering Medicare. And honestly, that's why my wife and I started this business, because we wanted to be a local resource for people, somewhere that they could come, meet face to face, maybe over the phone, but just a local presence. That they'd have somebody educate and guide them through that entire process.
That sounds wonderful. And I'm sure that your clients really appreciate you going through the extra effort and also creating this cozy environment to discuss their Medicare. And so let's start off with the basic question. I'm sure everyone is wondering, what is Medicare and who qualifies for it?
Sure, that's a great place to start. And a good place to start for people, if they want to do their own research, they can go to medicare.gov. And that has some really good resources for them. But to answer the basic question, what is Medicare? Medicare is a federal health insurance program, and it is available to people age 65 and older. It's also available to some people under age 65 due to disability or certain health conditions. But in its most basic form, and I can't go into great detail about either of these, but Part A is the first part of Medicare. It's divided into two parts. Part A is designed to cover inpatient care. Part B is designed to cover outpatient care. And when you have both of them together, you have what's known as Original Medicare. Now, there are certain times where you have enrollment periods where you can get in, and people may pay different amounts for Part A and B, but that is getting into the weeds a little bit here. But in its basic form, Medicare is Part A and Part B.
Okay, and so let's go in the weeds a little bit and talk about the different breakdown of the amounts, because you said different people may pay different amounts. What does that mean?
And that's one of the confusing parts about it. But both A and B do carry potential premiums. For most people living and working in the United States, if they've lived and worked here for more than 10 years, they qualify for premium-free Part A, which just simply means you don't pay anything for Part A. If you, one question that I do get is, what if there's one spouse that works outside the home, but then another one that stays in the home and doesn't have that work history? You can actually qualify for premium-free Part A based on your spouse's work history. So that's a nice feature. Now B is a little bit of a different story. B has a base premium that changes every year, but in 2024 it's $174.70 a month for Part B. And I say base premium because Part B premium can change based on your income level. And that's known as an IRMA charge. Again, we're going to get some acronyms here, but it's IRMA is Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. So if there's somebody watching that wants to know, hey, do I fall into that IRMA bracket, you can just type in, IRMA charges in the current year. They'll let you know where the brackets are and what you could be charged. But with the IRMA, one important thing to remember is that they look back 2 years on your income. So if somebody is retired, they still may face IRMA charges if they were a high income earner a couple years earlier, because the government does look back 2 years. But for most people that I meet with, premium-free Part A, and then $174.70 is the base charge for Part B.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, really great information and a great way to kick off this series. So thank you so much for this information today. And if you would like more information about HealthMarkets Insurance Agency, we'll have their website listed below. And remember to send your questions to Kevin. We'll have his email address listed below as well. And stay tuned each week as we continue our Medicare series. And I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Kevin McIntire, a licensed insurance agent with HealthMarkets Insurance Agency. This segment sponsored by Timbercrest Senior Living Community. Timbercrest is a senior living community that helps you get back to your best. They believe in living life to its fullest and doing it together. And joining me today is Sabina Thomas, their administrator and director of resident care, and Adrian Campus, who is their director of program and services. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How's it going?
It is going very well.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm thrilled to learn more about Timbercrest and just really the way that you help your community and the residents. And I know life enrichment is something that's really important to you all. So can you start off by sharing what is life enrichment and how does it impact your facility?
Life enrichment is probably one of the most important components for the life of our community because it engages our residents as well as their families, but also it enables them to continue to live a quality of life that is essential for their well-being, spiritually, emotionally.
No, that's good.
Physically, and just keeping them as active and engaged in their normal routine daily lives as we can.
Which is great. And so Adrian, as the program of director in services, what is it about your department that really enriches the lives of Timbercrest and your residents?
So my department, program and services, we are responsible for coming up with the day-to-day activities as well as special programming that we offer on campus, off campus. We do outings, all kinds of different activities and wellness programs to keep our residents engaged and active.
Oh, that's great.
For as long as possible.
Yes, and so I'm sure through those programs you get to coordinate some really fun stuff. So can you give me some examples of some of the activities and things that you all feature?
Absolutely, we have a great time. It's not every day you get to go to work and your job description be to have fun with your coworkers. So we, something new that we integrated this summer was our summer patio series. We brought in live musicians. We have a beautiful courtyard in our campus, and we had live musicians one evening a month, every month this summer. Residents really love live music. We have coming up, we have our harvest party, which we will do like s'mores, a little bonfire, hay rides. We go to plays, musical. We we went to 2 different tin cap games this summer.
Nice,
it was
yeah.
great. We have lots of fun activities going on all the time, every day.
Right, exactly. And so Sabina, as the Director of Resident Care, tell me more about your role in the community and how does it fit into the overall enrichment practice?
I oversee the social and emotional well-being of our residents, and for our residents to come up with programs that engage them and support them in the journey of aging. It is not an easy journey for many of our residents. It is an easy journey for others. But there are changes, and we are there to support them. We support families. One of the things that we do, we organize support groups. We have an active support group for those who are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And we have a support group for people with dementia and those who care for them, love them. So family and friends who have family members who have dementia in any stage. And being a resource person when people know they need something or don't know yet that they need something, and helping them wade through the various programs that are available and set them up with what can work for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, throughout that stage, you probably get different people of different ages. So what is the typical age range that you see?
Timbercrest, I always say, be careful of the water, because we have a large number of residents who are 99 and older.
Wow.
Our oldest member in the community is 109 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
That is beautiful.
And it's less than 10 years ago that she moved into our healthcare unit. She was very active until that part of her life. But on an average, probably is an active 75 to 88-year-old person who is engaged in various opportunities that Adrian's programs offers. Maybe beginning to notice changes, the question of should we continue to drive, not drive, the question of I'm getting forgetful, what does that mean, physical disabilities or changes, and how can they be addressed?
It's also challenging because we're seeing a trend where our age is dropping. We're getting younger and younger residents. We are a life plan community. So they come into different stages of our community in different stages of their lives. So we plan activities and programs accordingly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing about your facility.
Yes, thanks for having us.
And if you would like more information about Timbercrest and the way that they really care about life enrichment, we'll have their website listed below, and I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Timbercrest Senior Living Community. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome back to Women's Wealth Wednesday, where we provide you with holistic financial advice from Foster Financial. And joining me today is Caleb Doan, their Vice President. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning.
How's your day going?
It's going pretty well, yeah.
The temperature is kind of dropping outside.
Yeah, starting to feel the fall in the air. It's been good.
The fall effect. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Have you gotten your pumpkin spice latte yet?
Oh, I actually did. Yeah, I got the cold brew version.
Okay.
Though, so
Did you like it?
which I guess is starting to be more popular than even the hot one.
Okay.
So it's interesting.
I have to try that.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so we were talking before about spousal inheritance planning. And I know that we kind of discussed how people could inherit like IRAs or brokerage accounts. And today we're going to talk about pensions, right?
Yeah.
So why is this important?
Yeah, it's really important because there's this kind of massive wealth transfer that's occurring over the next 10, 15 years here. And it's really because a lot of the baby boomer generation is starting to enter the mid and later years of their retirement. And so typically the pattern that we see is that a husband will pass away and leave a lot of assets to his spouse, and then eventually when she passes away, leaves money to the kids. And it's kind of that first transfer that we're starting to see, where a husband's leaving money to their wife, and it's a huge financial situation to be in. And so we talked about the IRAs inheriting those, brokerage accounts, and kind of all the tax implications around that. Another really common one, especially for the baby boomer generation, are inheriting these pensions.
Right. And so those are a little bit different, right? Because it comes from the employer.
Right.
And so I feel like just thinking about it, it may be more technical or maybe more steps involved to get the pension. So what does happen if a father, if a husband passes away and he leaves his pension for his wife?
Yeah, so basically a decision was made on that pension way back when he originally turned it on. Whenever he retired at 65 years old, let's say, and turned on the pension, he chose a certain pension payout strategy. And so you can choose a single life or straight life pension payout where it only pays out for your life and actually nothing goes to your spouse if you were to pass away. But most of the time, people choose a strategy that does have some sort of spousal benefit. And so they could choose a 100% benefit, they could choose a 50% benefit. And basically the reason you would choose different benefits, there's different payouts associated with them, and you get a lesser or higher amount depending on the benefit that you get. So if you choose a straight life payout, you get the most while you're living. But then nothing goes to your spouse. If you choose the 100% payout, you get slightly less while you're living, but then also all of it continues for the spouse's life. So, you have to make this decision back when you're 65 and sort of think, do I think my spouse is going to outlive me? Do I think we're going to pass away around the same time? And that decision has big implications later on in retirement.
Okay, well, let's talk about that because I'm thinking there may be some options, right? So let's say that they feel like they're going to last or live the same amount of time. And so they take out the maximum pension while they're alive to be able to enjoy it. Couldn't they just take it all out, spend what they want to spend, and keep some of it in savings? Like, can you recycle those funds?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, if you choose that single life option that doesn't have anything go to the spouse, you're going to get an extra, couple $100 a month or whatever it might be. But you, of course, have to have the discipline to then set that money aside for all of those years. A lot of times when people pass away with a pension benefit, there is some sort of spousal benefit that continues on for the spouse. So they need to call the pension company, let them know that their spouse has passed away, and then see what that benefit is. Most of the time when a spouse passes away, it means there's going to be lower income for the widow. So the widow might get their, the husband's Social Security benefit, but then she's going to lose her Social Security benefit. And maybe if the pension is only a 50% joint and survivor pension, again, she's only going to get 50% of what they were getting before.
So you say that there's two options. You say either it's a single option where they get the majority or all of their money while they're living, or the survivor gets 50%. Those are the only two, or is that a flexible percentage?
There are some other options in between. There's the 100%, there's 75, there are all those different options in between. But in almost all scenarios, when a spouse passes away, the income for the surviving widow is going to be lower than what it was before. And you'd think that, your expenses would also go down, and they do a little bit, but they certainly don't get cut in half. Because if you had a mortgage, that's going to stay the same. A lot of times the utility bill stays about the same. Groceries might go down a bit, but your cable, your Wi-Fi, all that stuff is going to stay
all the same. People think single people are just living it up. It's like we actually pay more. Because we don't, we're not splitting it with a spouse. And all those bills are still consistent, as you said. And so if they do choose the option where their spouse gets some of the funds, is it for the rest of the spouse's life?
It's for the rest of their life, which is a really big benefit. Nothing will go to the kids after that, but it lasts for the entire spouse's life. By the time that a spouse passes away, the decision has already been made, right? So you can't go back and change anything. Now it's just about deciding, all right, what is my income going to be? Social Security is probably changing. The pension is changing a little bit. What's my new income for the rest of my life, and what are my expenses going to be? And it's very possible that since your income is going down and your expenses are probably not going down as much, maybe you need to pull more money from your investment accounts, or maybe you need to figure out a different way to generate some income there.
Okay, and then my final question for you, because we talked about the money not going to the kids. So I'm wondering, what if it's a single person who has a pension? Or what if they were once married and their wife passed away? So
Right.
now they have their pension money. Is the child an option to get that type of distribution ever?
Yeah, it's still not an option.
Okay.
And basically the reason is because the child is so much younger than the parent, and so the company paying out the insurance wouldn't want to do it for their entire lifetime, because of course they're going to outlive the parent by 30 years probably. So that's why that's typically not an option. When a single person goes to elect their pension, most of the time they won't even have the option to choose the 100% joint survivor because there's no spouse for them to kind of list on the documents in order to do that.
Okay.
So those are kind of the things that we weigh, but anytime that this happens, your income is changing, your expenses are changing. It's a really good time if you have a financial advisor to have that conversation with them and say, my entire financial picture is changing. What can we do to make sure I have enough money for the rest of my life?
Right.
If you don't have a financial advisor, that could be a really good time to find one.
Right.
An even better time to find one is prior to all of that happening, because that's a very tumultuous time in somebody's life, and so it's typically not the time you want to be interviewing financial advisors and deciding who's the person you trust. Finding somebody ahead of time is a really good option.
Yeah, well, good thing we have you as an option.
Yeah.
Foster Financial right here locally. So thank you so much, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you would like information about Foster Financial, we'll have their phone number listed below. Give them a call. They're so nice and will be willing to answer your questions. And I look forward to seeing you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, you can always catch up on episodes and segments of Living Local 15 by going to WANE.com, downloading the WANE app, and also checking us out on YouTube. And I'll leave you with this. It's never too late to live your best life, so start living it today. And I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.